So I'm gonna try to start it. I have a feeling it won't start, but it's been sitting for a while, so maybe, you know, my luck, it'll fire up. I'm gonna kill his jump pack, but no, I need to swap that math. One of those things where I thought it was gonna stay on. I was like, oh yeah, I'm never taking this bumper off, not anytime soon. Now I gotta go get dikes. Let's take a walk. Wouldn't really recommend jacking your car up from here, because if it does like bend the frame rails, but I've been doing it for so long that it's just like, why not stop doing it? Granted, when I pulled the front end apart, remember I did fight putting it together, and I'm pretty sure it's because those.
Nope. Oh. It's the rocks, Kyle.
There we go. So, try and jack it up a little bit, so I could get like 2 blocks under that wheel. Under there. I was talking about not to jack up your car from here, but maybe this will allow me to get it high enough to then
that did nothing. Well, it did, but not really.
Not enough, right?
It's because your wheel's flat.
Yeah. Should I air it up?
Yeah.
A lot of back and forth here, you know? I wasn't planning on it to be difficult. I thought it'd be easy, like, hey, you know, I'm just gonna jack up the car. No, it doesn't work that way. Of course, I gotta go back and grab more stuff. But luckily, I have flats every morning, so I'm always prepared. I'll use this one. Leave that in that car. Let's go. Gotta lock my doors. It's dangerous out here. have to jack it up more. Jacking this up just so I could come replace the wire harness on this car. Again, it's because that map sensor, the plug for it is, I don't know if there's a short or something in there, but I do have a replacement harness that isn't cut and I didn't like rewire anything on it. So I'm hoping that is the simple fix to this and I can just call it a day and drive this car again. So I got the car jacked up. I'm actually going to start replacing the harness now. I decided to do it outside just because I don't feel like pushing the car in, and I'm like, you know, this should be like a 2-hour job tops if I fucking struggle. If I struggle to do it. So I'm like, oh, you know, it won't be too bad to do it on the ground right here. So I'll come take off the intake and then start pulling off the plug. But before I do that, I'm actually going to clean all the leaves from underneath. I don't want to be laying down on that. And then I can start. So I already pulled off this side of the engine harness. I had to take off the throttle body and a VVT solenoid to get 2 connectors out. There's one that's right here because of the supercharger. You got to like relocate the actual pigtail for it towards the bottom. So I had to pull that off for that. And then one for, I think it's for the knock sensor harness. I had to take off the throttle body to get to. Before, I want to say I never had to take it off. Like I could always just fish my hand down in there. It's like small enough to get there. I don't know if it's because I'm like layered up because it's freaking cold out that I had to do it. But that's all out. Now I just got to take off my oil cooler reservoir for the supercharger so I could get the back of the harness out. And I could go underneath the car, unplug the tranny, and get this harness out of here. Along this side, you'll see that like just from me pulling this cooler out the way, well, the reservoir, I have so much room back here. I can get this connector off and a couple more. I think there's one for like a coolant temp sensor, which I actually do need to replace. But since I'm gonna have to be changing this engine, I'm gonna change this engine probably pretty soon. I'm gonna just leave it. I mainly just want the car to run so I can move it around and do shit. But yeah, all I do is just pull this off. Granted, this is actually another reason why I'm replacing it. Last time I changed this cam position sensor, I ended up breaking this pigtail, and then like I could depin it. I bought a tool to do that. I couldn't figure it out, and then I could just splice the wires and place like that, but I feel as if that's going to leave so many issues with like voltage, and then like the car's going to run sloppy. So it's just easier for me right now just to replace the whole entire thing. Got one more connector. Hope I don't break this one. Boom. Yo, I'm a beast. So much oil under this. So most of the hard part is done. I ended up going underneath the car and plugging the transmission, the O2 sensors, and the cam position sensor. And then there was one more sensor on the back of the block underneath that like coolant temp sensor that I had to unplug. I had to go underneath to get it. But now I should be able to pull everything out And then all I got to do is just unplug the ECU, and then I could get ready to put the new harness in. So I'm gonna try to do this all in one attempt. So right now, I just need to come under to unplug the ECU. Hopefully my door stays open. Whoever owns a Z, you guys know that these things will obliterate your shins no matter what. Even if it's the vehicle's facing downhill, they will just toast it. I don't know how well you guys can see, but that's the ECU plug. There's one more, I think, that controls the BCM that plugs in right here that I have to disconnect. They're pretty simple to undo. This one's kind of a pain, but this one's actually the easier one. Some people, that you're gonna have to remove this panel, but I've taken this car apart so many times, and you know, after a while you just start losing screws and clips. That I should be able to do this all with one hand. Boom, just like that, it's unplugged. This one though, it's kind of a pain. I don't know how well you guys can see this. Kind of fight it almost, just to get it out. We're gonna do some YouTube magic with this one. All right, well, you know, I'm learning how to do this, but I ended up unplugging it. I had to use two hands to do that. I couldn't hold the GoPro and do this at the same time, but you literally just pull this clip back over it, wedge it under, and this will pop right out. Now there is one more panel I do have to remove in order to get, I believe the last one is this one. Granted, I need 2 fingers to do this too, but that's the last one, and then I could pull the ECU out. Well, not the ECU, but the engine harness out. Well, I ended up getting that last clip out. I can actually move forward now and pull the whole engine harness out. Everything is undone currently from the back of the engine, transmission. All I had to do is pull this like clip out, use the towel. I mainly put it in here because I had an issue before where like after a rainstorm, the car would like, the floor pan would flood with water, and I couldn't figure it out. So I did that first. Come to find out, on newer models, like I think it's 05 to 08, Nissan decided to put this little clip right here, clip panel, to separate and like block off where the harness goes into the engine bay so water doesn't get into there. I did the towel at first. It did help, it slowed it down. I wasn't finding that much water in there. Once I replaced this cowl panel, boom, no more water. So now I just got to pull this out. I think there's, oh, I forgot, there's 3 more clips right here that I have to undo, and then I can pull this whole entire thing out of here and get the new one in. So now everything's actually up. I unplugged the ECU, I unplugged, I think this goes to like all the BCM controls. I could be wrong, I'm not too sure, I don't remember. Actually, I don't even know. But now I can actually pull everything out of here. I'll start getting close that plug up. Boom. Just like that. I don't know how long this took, but I don't think it was that long to pull this whole engine harness out. And like, granted, there could be maybe a couple breaks in it. I believe the harness is shorted out. I know I broke the clip, a connector for one of the cam position sensors. I broke the O2 sensor one, and then the MAF, I rewired it, it worked, wiggled it once, it shorted out again. So it's, at this point, I feel as if it's just easier for me just to replace the harness, put a new one that isn't messed with, start the car, at least people to drive it around and do anything with it. So this is the new harness. Granted, I should have opened it a while ago just to double check, or even just to make sure it's the right one before I started removing this. But if it's not, whatever. It is what it is, I'll buy another one. Granted, need a knife. cut this up?
Scissors.
I'm gonna use the other knife right now. So I ended up having to go back and get my original harness because this one is the wrong one. And I remember when I ordered this one, I remember I was persistent and I made sure I looked at the O2 sensors and I seen that there were narrow band ones. This is a wide band one, probably from an 05, and I could have still used it and just swapped out the O2 sensors later on. But there was actually one more connector or pigtail that feeds down into the ECU that this harness didn't have, that my originals do. And I could have said, oh, screw it, you know, I don't need it, but I honestly don't know what it goes to. So I'd rather be safe than sorry and just get this, know it works. Yeah, I have everything else plugged in. I should be able to, should start. And if it doesn't, this harness, I know for a fact the only issue is that crank sensor. Let's find out. Fingers crossed. It's that crank sensor signal. That's just because the tack didn't even move. But at least I know. Yeah, the tack didn't move, but it does run. I can replace that tomorrow when it's warmer. I'll rewire it correctly because I just connected the wires, and we're good.